Welcome, everybody. We're back after a short vacation release. This is the Pixelblips podcast. I'm Andy Ryan, recently comfortably numb. That's Dave DeWart, fourth guy in line to play the autistic kid and the wizard. Dave, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Borderlands 2.
Just like the rest of humanity?
And Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 2. And a little bit of Torchlight 2. So a lot of twos.
So a lot of number twos.
Yeah, a lot of sequels.
So you're very comfortable with the number two.
Yeah, I am.
You enjoy.
Yeah, I do number twos.
You number two all over the place. Anyway, so how's Borderlands 2?
A lot like Borderlands 1.
No way.
I know. The in-jokes are there. There's all kinds of little references to other games.
I saw an article Kotaku popped up with like all the hidden...
A whole bunch of Easter eggs. There's more that they didn't have. There's actually a Snow White and the 7 Midgets.
Well, the first Borderlands was such a huge game, and then of course when you do a sequel, you always increase that monumentally. So,
but the random guns are in there. The
bazillions,
87 bazillion and 2 guns in this one. But yeah, there's a lot. It's fun. And Torchlight 2 is a lot like Torchlight 1, except it's a little bit more open worldy.
More loot.
Of course, there's more loot.
There's always more loot.
There's a 4th character class instead of only having 3. I know. It's from what I've played of it, it's pretty fun. I've been playing the demo a little bit because I've been playing Borderlands, so I want to get my $60 out of that before I drop 20 on Torchlight. But
yeah, we are getting back into that time of the year where the games are going to start coming
at
a pretty good clip.
It's like, okay, you have to pick and choose which ones you want day one, and then you
get
the other ones later.
And then the ones you're going to pick up at like the Black Friday sale or closer to Christmas. So I've actually been playing a lot. Of course, we haven't been around very much for the past few weeks because I've been on vacation, he's been on vacation. So in that time, I've played a lot, but I'm going to kind of
narrow it down to what you played this week?
Yeah, the things I've played this week. I played the Starhawk single-player campaign, which is very good.
Didn't that just fully release? It was in beta forever, but
what they did was they had the beta, which I was part of the beta. That was back in the spring. Then they released the game. The game didn't really take off very well, but they wanted it to.
Yeah.
So now they've broken it online into the single-player mode and multiplayer mode. You can buy whichever one you want.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to buy both. You just get you can piecemeal it up.
PS Plus, I believe they get a discount on the multiplayer and they get the single player for free. And I've been playing the single player.
Huh. Okay. I might have to check that out.
And when I was in the beta, we talked about this. That the thing I really like about Starhawk is the build your own base as everyone else is coming at you.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Which it's kind of the kind of build your base tower defense stuff has happened before, but this is not constant, but
it's a little bit more intense.
Yeah, it's more action oriented, less strategy oriented.
That's cool.
And everything looks like it fell off the back of an old G.I. Joe delivery truck from the old G.I. Joe toys, which I really like that.
Yeah. Okay.
They had an hour-long demo of Mirror's Edge, and I've always wanted to check out Mirror's Edge.
Oh, the what is it?
Free running?
Yeah.
Parkour.
No, I know what that
Parkour.
is. The Sony thing where you could download the whole game, but you have 1 hour to play through as much of it as possible.
The free 60-minute trial.
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
I'm not buying that game.
No?
For playing that hour-long trial.
Okay.
Because when you're doing what the game wants you to do, when you're doing the free running, it's amazing. But it is so easy to take a wrong step and then not know where to go. Even though they have a hotkey on the controller that's supposed to point you
in the right direction
at your objective. If there's 8 walls between you and your objective and you're really off the beaten path,
you're way out of
you're not getting back on.
I gotcha.
And there's a lot of you died instantly. Sorry.
Checkpoint it, back it up.
Yeah. So that's not that fun. But the big thing I've been playing this week, the thing that's gotten most of my time, is Zen Pinball 2.
Oh, yeah, because you could play it on your Vita.
For the Vita. And being out and about and doing stuff. And, the other day, stuck at the mall with the wife, popped the Vita out, played some pinball. It was very good, very fun. And the tables look amazing on the Vita, and they look amazing on the PS3.
Yeah.
And we've had this discussion before because I fall on the Zen Pinball side of digital pinball, and you fall on the pinball arcade side.
Well, I like Zen Pinball. It's cool. The physics are right, but it's just there's things that they do on those tables that you couldn't do with a real table.
Which is one of the things I like about it, which is one of the things you definitely
don't like. Well, the whole... On the Fantastic Four table, the Mr. Fantastic will stretch across and grab a ball every now and then, or Thing will punch the ball across the screen, the thing.
Which I like.
Which is cool, but
in the digital space, I know you couldn't do that in real life. but in the digital space,
Yeah, you can.
You should take advantage of it.
But there's some weird stuff, like with the Pinball Arcade, too. Like, if on Medieval Madness, there's a really hard shot to hit, so if you get anywhere close to it, it'll just suck the ball in there in a weird, unrealistic way. But for the most part, those are the more realistic tables. Those are the ones that are modeled after actual tables.
Yeah. These are not.
Well, no, but they're still pretty cool. Like, I have Zen Pinball, and I played the crap out of it before Pinball Arcade came out.
So. Like, one of my favorite tables is, that's realistic, is the Street Fighter table.
Yeah.
But then one of my favorite unrealistic tables is one of the ones that came out in this last batch of Marvel pinball tables, is the Fear Itself table, which is fairly recent.
Okay.
Not this past summer, but the summer before. It was Marvel's mega event. And it's fun. Yeah. It's big. It's complicated. There's one of those cool drops that takes you down beneath
the table.
And pops you back up. It's really good.
That's cool.
And then there's World War Hulk, and I'm a big Hulk fan, so... the guy that got to do the voice of the Hulk is genius.
It's not Lou Ferrigno, though.
No, it's not Lou Ferrigno.
Oh.
Lou Ferrigno, like, he's kind of deaf now, so he has a speech impediment, but like, when the guy in the Hulk is like, people of Earth, I've come to smash, and you should know who's to blame, it's like, Hulk. So that's what I've been playing. I've also been playing a lot on my Wii.
Because, why would you?
One of my things I did over my vacation was go through and catalog all my video games. And I realized there were a lot of Wii titles that I bought because I was like, oh, that was coming out, that was cool. Yeah. That I just never got play out of.
Touched them.
Yeah, so I've been playing a lot of Muramasa the Demon Blade, which is a Vanillaware title, which we'll talk about later because it's coming to the Vita. That was announced at
Is that the one
TGS.
where you have to act like the Wii mode is a sword? No, it's a different game? Okay.
Yeah. This one, you don't even have to play with the Wii mode. I use the classic controller.
Okay.
Speaking of the Wii.
Or the Wii U.
Well, I was speaking of the Wii, but you can speak of the Wii U.
Yeah, and anyway, go ahead.
So one of the things we missed while on vacation was the Wii U pricing announcement.
Release date in the U.S. and Japan.
Yeah, so we started with, after this press conference, which was a day after they announced the Apple iPhone 5.
Which I don't care about.
Well, but...
I don't like the iPhones, but that's
that's going to be the first of... we'll talk about it after we talk about what's actually announced at this Wii U event, about the things that I feel they've done wrong. So they announced that day that they were going to have 2 Nintendo titles at launch. They have Nintendo Land and New Super Mario Brothers Wii U. There we go.
That sounds right, yeah.
I think that's all. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, maybe.
Or is that to call it the New Super Mario Brothers Wii HD?
Yeah, more or less.
But they're shunning that HD title for some reason on most of their all of their
games.
It's
always been, Darksider or whatever Wii or things like that. So now they're gonna start pushing the new console with Wii.
Remember how much we hated 64? Wave Race 64.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's not something they haven't or Super Mario Brothers or Super Mario Kart. So yeah, it all ties into their system.
And the organizing of my old video games, the Super Nintendo games, there's a giant glut in the SEU part.
Well, yeah, because there has to be.
So since then, other titles have shooken out.
Yeah.
That launch date, you're probably going to have 20-ish titles to pick from.
Yeah, 15 to 20 titles.
And they're going to have some big names. They're going to have Darksiders 2.
Aren't they going to have Bayonetta 2 on launch? Or is that going to be shortly
Bayonetta
after?
2 is...
Down the line a bit?
Within the
launch window.
They haven't even said it's within the launch window yet.
Oh, okay.
They're saying that it's an exclusive coming to the Wii U.
Okay.
Which I played Bayonetta. I played it on the PS3, which is apparently not what you were supposed to do. Because the version of that had some hiccups. I mean, I'm the type of guy, I will look past glaring technical flaws and see a good game.
Well, and
like Skyrim on the PS3.
Yeah.
That game didn't run up to snuff, and I still loved it.
After, so many hours, it became almost unplayable because your save file got too huge?
That happened to me.
Yeah.
After about, I want to say I was in our mid-40s.
Yeah, it's 30 to 40 hours.
It literally, the frame rate dropped so much, it became like a slideshow, and I was just like, I'm just going to wait till they patch it. But, once again, I can look beyond those glaring flaws.
Yeah, I mean,
at that time that it was a slideshow, it was still one of my favorite games of the year.
Yeah. Well, and it's still a really good game, and they keep adding stuff to it.
But having said that about Bayonetta, I'm not upset that I won't be able to play Bayonetta 2 unless I buy a Wii U.
Yeah, well, and it'll probably get ported at some point. It'll be exclusive for a year or 6 months or whatever, and then they'll release it on the other systems.
According to Platinum and Nintendo,
it's going to be exclusive for the Wii U.
It's going to be exclusive for the duration.
Oh well.
But at the same time,
I guess, yeah.
Bayonetta it's a cool franchise. I really like it. I feel like it's the spiritual successor to Devil May Cry.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. It's got a lot of the over-the-top action and the gunplay and whatnot.
But at the same time, I was never the biggest Devil May Cry fan.
No. I was really bad at Devil May Cry.
Yeah. Well, so the other things is we got Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is coming to the Wii U, and they showed off that the exclusive Wii U edition was going to be, instead of split-screen multiplayer,
one person gets a TV, one person gets the controller.
Yeah. Which my response is, big whoop.
Well, it's kind of a big deal, but
it's kind of not.
It's kind of like at a LAN.
I think Nintendo's forgotten that the days of couch co-op are gone.
But they're not, to a degree.
When was the last time you sat on a couch with someone and played a game?
Don't you remember?
When was the last time that you played a game online?
I don't play console games online.
No, any game.
Well, I play a lot of PC games online.
Okay,
So we'll say like a month ago, maybe. Okay. Versus, you and me played Double Dragon a couple weeks ago, but we weren't playing against each other. So, yeah,
if you said people, I don't even know if Call of Duty does split screen.
No, it doesn't.
So many of the titles now don't do split screen.
Halo still does split screen, I think. I don't know if Halo 4 does. Starhawk does it.
Split screen. Warhawk does
Gears of War will do split screen.
But it's not what it was.
It's not what it was when the N64, the Super NES, and all that were around.
Back in GoldenEye.
Yeah.
The last time...
We're not going to get the return of GoldenEye, I don't think.
The last time Nintendo was a powerhouse in multiplayer gaming, it was because of the couch.
Yeah.
And that was also... Oh, by the way, happy 16th birthday to the Nintendo 64 yesterday.
Yesterday. But anyway.
But yeah, 16 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Well, the GameCube had some stuff. The Super Smash Brothers for the GameCube and the Wii U.
But remember when Super Smash Bros. Brawl came out and everyone was like, oh, the online sucks.
Well, yeah, it's because the GameCube or the Wii is not that great.
Well, but that's the point, is that we're no longer at that couch-based co-op.
Yeah. No.
Even Street Fighter, even the fighting games, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, King of Fighters, have come back because they've
understood you can do online.
How to do online multiplayer.
Yeah, I know. But, it's cool if you have a buddy over and you guys want to play against each other. It's not something that is required, and it's not like, it's not like you need two of the Wii U pads. You can get one of the what do they have, the hardcore controller or the
whatever they're called,
core controller. Yeah, the Wii U Pro controller.
But the flip side is, the people going out to buy those Call of Duty Black Ops 2
are probably not by themselves.
Yeah, no. They're probably not going to buy a Wii U because all their friends have Xbox Live or all their friends have the PlayStation Network.
Or the PC version or whatever. Yeah.
Like, when you buy that Call of Duty Black Ops 2, you better thank the maker that there's couch co-op because no one's going to be playing online.
Yeah.
And if everybody that buys a Wii U buys Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and is playing online, okay, 100%, everybody.
Yeah, everybody.
You are going to be dealing with a tenth of the Call of Duty Black Ops population on the PS3 and the PC.
Maybe.
And probably a 1/50th of what it is on Xbox Live.
Yeah.
And congratulations to you. You have the newest toy on the block.
Yeah, and it's that's how it's going to be when the next gen systems come out. You can buy the game on the 360 or you could buy it on the next box, whatever the heck it's called. That's only a percentage of those people are going to have it for the new systems.
But that's kind of the Wii U's problem.
Well, yeah,
they made a big deal. Nintendo fanboys always make a big deal about Sony being the Me Too platform. With what the Wii's doing right now, there has been no, in the history of video gaming, there's been no Me Too platform more than the Wii U. And it ain't even out yet.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Batman Arkham City.
Yeah.
Armored Edition.
So it comes with a bunch of extra DLC.
Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
It's
Darksiders 2.
It's ports from the other systems. But they got to start out with something that people know, and then they can start doing stuff that they don't know.
The intelligent way to do that is to bring in first-party and second-party content that is unique to your system.
Yeah, and they're doing that a little bit, but we all know that there's a Zelda either in development or shortly to be in development. So
I'm sure there's a Metroid Prime.
And there's a Metroid game. There might even be a really awesome Kirby game.
Yeah, the litany of titles that Nintendo has been good at for the past 25 years.
They have franchises. They just haven't announced them yet.
But they're always there.
Yeah.
The audience isn't going to take that for granted, the Nintendo hardcore fanboy, but also that Nintendo hardcore fanboy is not going to maintain and sustain the Wii U.
No, it won't.
We'll get into what they're doing wrong.
Yeah.
The pricing is wrong.
It's too high. It's way too high for what you're getting.
The launch date is wrong.
I wouldn't say it's wrong. It's off a little bit. But if it's out a couple of weeks before Black Friday, then you can.
But they're not going to have. I'm talking about like it's wrong as in it needs to be 6 months from now when they have stock ready to go.
Yeah, that's true.
The reason we didn't hear a launch date for so long isn't because they're sitting on 3,000 million warehouses full of Wii U's.
Yeah.
It's because they were wondering, if we keep pushing the manufacturing people in China, how quickly can we get this out?
Yeah.
In numbers that are sustainable.
Acceptable and sustainable, yeah.
I mean, and at the start of the Wii's launch, lifetime, they constrained Wii shipments to increase demand. Because all of a sudden they hit this powder keg of casual gaming.
Yeah.
And everyone wanted a Wii.
Yeah, they did.
At $250. And I don't think everyone's going to want a Wii U. Mainly because their press conference was the day after the iPhone 5 press conference.
Well, I don't care about that.
And the only thing that everyone that is not a gamer was talking about for the next week and a half
was the iPhone.
Was the iPhone 5.
Well, yeah, but that's because the iPhone has a lot broader audience. People who use Mac products.
When the Wii came out,
a lot of people were talking about the Wii for a long time.
People were just talking about the Wii, and no one's talking about the Wii U except for us gamers.
Well, yeah, but
if anything, like it's made wonderful hackneyed local news jokes.
Yeah.
About it. It sounds like PU and you Wii U'd your pants.
Yeah, well,
But that's the problem. Nintendo's not built like Sony. Nintendo's not built like Microsoft.
No.
Sony and Microsoft, like, the thing I love hearing is people are like, the PS3's tanking, Sony's going to get out of the console race. You guys don't understand. Sony's built to let that PlayStation brand tank for decades.
Yeah, because they can survive off of hardware sales of Blu-ray players and TVs and who knows what else. Laptops.
And they don't. And the other thing is like, oh, Sony lost $300 billion or however much it was this year. Yeah, Sony's built to lose that much. They can do that.
Yeah,
they can do that for a very long time and still be a working company.
Yeah.
Nintendo, on the other hand, is not built to lose anything.
No, because they only have their console and
the other thing is like
consoles rather.
Sony, Nintendo never sells their consoles for a loss. This was the problem with the 3DS.
Yeah.
They always want to sell it for a profit.
Yeah.
Sony has never sold a console for a profit when it debuted.
No.
That's just not what
they
do.
They couldn't do it because there was too much high-end tech in it.
Yeah, even in the PS1 days.
Yeah. Well, because
we're going to sell it for a loss. We're going to make it down the line off the licensing fees. We'll be fine.
Yeah, because it was a cheaper CD player, and the same thing with the PS2. It was the cheapest DVD player on the market when it came out. Same with the PS3. It was the cheapest Blu-ray player when it came out.
Yes. So Sony's built like that.
But they push new tech, and then it becomes the norm, and then they get stuff off of that later.
In hindsight, Microsoft's game division is built like Sony's.
Yeah.
Or was
was
built like
was
structured like Sony's, is now not like Sony's.
Yeah.
Was originally structured to be Sony. Nintendo's not.
Yeah.
Nintendo needs to sell the Wii U for as close to a profit as possible.
Yeah, they do.
And they need to sell a lot of them because they're setting it up the same distribution channels as the Wii. I don't think the Wii U is going to be this. Now, I could be wrong. As always, this is the internet. We could all be wrong. I don't think the Wii U is going to be the success that the Wii was because, one, cheapo SKU doesn't come with a game.
No.
So if you buy the cheapo SKU, which is
you have to spend another $40 on a game.
100% of Wii users were doing in the first
year.
Yeah, from the first 6 months to the first 18 months.
Yeah, everybody was buying just the base unit.
It came with Wii Sports. It came with one controller. The nunchuck was extra. Not the nunchuck was extra, but everything else was extra.
Really? I think the nunchuck was extra because when I bought mine, I didn't get a nunchuck. But
Oh,
maybe I was wrong. I don't know.
Okay, well, even the nunchuck was there. So the baseline SKU that everyone was buying came with a game. A game that showed you how this works.
Yeah.
A game that ended up being the only thing a lot of people ended up playing on their Wii.
Or, because, I mean, my dad has a Wii, and I bought him the Wii Fit. I don't think it's even out of the box.
Well, so the baseline SKU doesn't come with that game, which is what you need to bridge to this newer audience.
I mean, it's not backwards compatible,
audience.
Right?
Yeah, I think it's backwards compatible.
So they might be able to play their new Wii games on it, but they won't use the pad for it because there's no need.
So we're going for this casual audience, right? Because that's Nintendo's been that's been Nintendo's bread and butter. If it wasn't for that casual audience, if the Wii had tanked, not that the GameCube tanked, not that the N64 tanked, but if it had been a success on that level, Nintendo would not be where they are today.
No.
They would not be putting out a new console. No. They've had 3 console generations. Really, they had 4 console generations because the Super Nintendo didn't become a success until the end of its lifespan.
More or less, yeah, because people were like, man, I remember these games. And
yeah,
it's more of a...
They didn't really hit that stride until Donkey Kong came out. And when Donkey Kong was released, Donkey Kong Country was released, they were on the eve of PlayStation 1 and Saturn.
Yeah.
So saying that Nintendo has been ruling the roost
for a while is not exactly accurate.
Like, they ruled the roost in the 8-bit days. They eventually ruled it, you know, like 2 years ago, a lot of us thought that Sony was going to pull a Super Nintendo with the PlayStation 3. Kinect changed that.
Yeah.
And it's changed the game for Sony, but so they eventually ruled it. They never touched it in the N64. There was no bones about it. The GameCube never touched it. There was no bones about it. The Wii rules the roost in terms of sales.
Pure numbers
but in terms of
consoles out there.
Mind share.
Yeah.
It was a profitable system. It did well, but the business model they had behind it was not sustainable.
No.
And that is why we are seeing the Wii U now. And I think the Wii U is going to... If the Wii U tanks, you'll see another system from Nintendo.
Yeah.
But 2 more tanks in a row.
It may be their Dreamcast, and you'll never see a Nintendo system again. Which, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing Sony and Microsoft carry Nintendo IPs.
Yeah, well, that's the issue.
Who knows if they'll even do that? Like, if they would become a third party.
We'll get into this
developer.
Issue. So Sony's idea, very forward-looking from the PlayStation brand. Eventually, there's not going to be consoles.
Well, no, they're going to sell you a streaming box on live and Gaikai style.
Which is this is the thing that Xbox's problem is going to be, is that Sony is working with their internal studios to build brands that survive.
Yeah.
They tried it with Resistance. It didn't really take off. They've definitely done it with Killzone. They've definitely done it with Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, not Spyro. What's the raccoon's name? Sly Cooper, and they're Sly Cooper, Uncharted, Jak and Daxter. All these core Sony franchises that they can still make games for other systems.
They could,
and that's part of the PlayStation Mobile brand. Nintendo, unless they radically change their business model. When that happens and we're in a non-hardware, non-console thing, and it is only these video game brands that you've built, they're going to die. And they're going to die hard and heavy because they're going to have a choice. Mario can be on a Microsoft tablet and a Sony tablet and Android and iOS.
Yeah.
Or you guys can be out of business.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to come to that realization eventually.
And the Wii U is the tip of that horrible teetering iceberg for Nintendo because there's nothing in that tech that justifies the price tag.
Yeah, and I have a feeling
for the casual audience, they're not going to care.
I have a feeling a lot of what the price tag is on the Wii U is that controller.
But the controller has a resistive touchscreen.
Well, yeah, but it's a controller with a tablet in it. That's not cheap. I mean, they're going to be what? Whenever they come out here, they're probably going to be about $150. So
180.
Yeah, at some point
But you can get an Android tab that's as good as that GameCube, that gamepad
for $100 maybe.
Less.
Yeah, $80.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can buy an MP3 player that probably is better than that.
Well, I'm also not a huge Nintendo fanboy. I usually pick up Nintendo consoles after
their life cycle is ended.
Yeah, after their life cycle, you can go back through. Pick
up the stuff for somewhat cheaper.
Get the Wind Wakers, get the Mario 64s, the Ocarina of Times, the Metroid Prime trilogy, the stuff that ends up mattering.
Yeah.
and you get it for cheaper because Nintendo never brings. Once again, their business model isn't made like Sony's, where we can have Uncharted 3. 9 months later, Uncharted 3, best of year edition, greatest year edition, and then 9 months after that, Uncharted 3 greatest year edition can be $20.
Yeah, or where they're doing now, like we're seeing all these HD remixes of games where they come back and they're all HDified, so they'll display in 720, but they look like the original game because they didn't do like the texture remapping and the redoing all the models and stuff.
Nintendo's not built like that.
They're
Nintendo's built that Super Mario Galaxy 1 is full price until Super Mario Galaxy 2 comes out,
and then it's only like $10 off.
And then it's $10 off. Yeah. Because that is how their business is set up. That's how they make money.
Yeah, well, that's their first party stuff. The third party stuff is a little bit different.
Third party stuff's up to other publishers.
It'll drop in price within a couple of months if it doesn't sell well. So,
speaking of dropping in price, Tokyo Game Show happened and they announced a new PlayStation.
Yeah, they did.
Which I think this is the first time we've seen a third
iteration of a
hardware
console?
iteration since the Sega Genesis.
Because there was well, how many Segas were there?
Well, there was
of the Genesis. If you don't count the 32X and the...
There was 3 Genocide that were mass market, and then there were other versions.
Yeah.
But.
Okay. Hey, whatever. If it works for Sony, it works for Sony. I mean, these things have pretty decently sized hard drives in them, too. Unless you live in Europe, and then you can get either a 12 gig or a 500 gig. So...
Well, the 12 gig's really cheap.
Yeah.
And actually, that's the other thing.
Actually, I think...
When the casual market goes to Black Friday, they're going to see that you can wait in that line and get the Wii U and get 32 gigabytes.
For $300.
For $300.
Or you buy a PS3. That's the high end one.
That's the 350. Right?
Yeah, the $350 deluxe set.
You can get that new thing for the deluxe set for $350.
It comes with a game and it comes with 4 times the hard drive space.
Or for $270, you can go over here.
You get a 500 gig.
Get the 500 gig PS3 with a game, with 2 games actually.
And doesn't it come with like a month or 3 months of plus?
I think it comes with a month.
Yeah.
So there's a value proposition that casual market is going to look into.
Well, maybe. But
I also think this Christmas Nintendo is counting on the Wii explosion, like it happened in 2006. And I think what's going to end up being is day one supporters are Nintendo fanboys.
They're going to have it on the 18th or the 19th.
That casual market, and I mean they're going to sell well through the holiday, but that casual market's not going to show up because that casual market is iOS. Anyway, we're talking about TGS, and I keep getting sidetracked on
the Wii and
my upsetness with Nintendo. So Sony came out and said, "Here's Vita games."
Yeah, here's some.
Once again, we're totally sorry we forgot about it at E3.
Yeah,
but Gamescom, here's Vita games. TGS, here's Vita games.
Yeah.
Once again, I still feel 6 months or 8 months out. 8 months out now. I still feel like that Vita was a good purchase.
It's probably not a bad purchase. And they also announced, I think it might have been at Tokyo Game Show, that they're going to add Plus support to the Vita. So you may get not free games, but discounted games.
Yeah. Well, now, when they announced that, I kind of went through my head because I have 6 retail Vita games that are all launch era titles. And I kind of went through my head like, what game did I already buy? Are they going to offer me for free?
Wipeout.
I didn't buy Wipeout. I hope it's Wipeout.
They give you Wipeout or the Hot Shots Golf one.
I have Hot Shots Golf.
So you'll wind up getting free games that you already own.
Yes.
But then
the other thing they did,
then you can get rid of the games.
That's true. The other thing they did this past summer was they marked down the $50 Uncharted title to $40.
Oh, the Golden Abyss or whatever
Golden
it is?
Abyss, yes. So I think Sony is kind of saying like $40 may be the roof.
That's probably where they should start putting mobile games. I think there's definitely there's a quality disparity between the Vita and the PS3, depending on the game. Obviously, Uncharted's not going to look as good as 3.
Uncharted looks damn good.
It looks good, but it's not going to have the same fidelity and all that as the PS3 version has.
A lot of things that I think the Vita owners are looking at is one of the other things that came out of Tokyo Game Show is almost 100% of Vita owners own a PS3. And that is why they did the cross-buy.
Well, yeah, but that makes sense because if you're locked into Sony, you might as well get as much value out of it as possible. You're not going to pay $15 every 3 months for PS Plus for just your Vita.
Yeah, I think they're doing all of this PS Plus stuff to get you sucked into that Sony ecosystem.
Well, yeah.
Because they're going to release PS4. They want you there day one.
Yeah.
And they're going to say you can bring, maybe not all your goodies over, but you
can bring a lot of that stuff over with you.
This portion of goodies you can bring to your new PS4.
Well, yeah, and that's going to keep the PS3 around for a while, too.
Yeah. So if the PS4 comes out before the Xbox...
the next box.
and it comes out at a similar or lower price tag, I think the PS Plus stuff, as long as they continue it how they have been, is going to pull some of that Xbox Live people back.
It
that
may.
PS2 lost.
It may, yeah. And, you know,
And I think this Tokyo Game Show was the first. They're setting up that.
Well, maybe.
They're building to. E3 2012 was their Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Gamescom was their Incredible Hulk.
Making comic book analogies for video games.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it's comic movie analogies. This Tokyo Game Show was their Iron Man 2. They gave you. They're like. It was a
so next E3 is going to be Avengers?
No, the next E3 is going to be Thor.
Oh, okay.
Then this Tokyo Game Show next year is going to be Avengers. Like, we're going to. Hopefully by Tokyo Game Show next year, they announce the price on the PS4, they announce when it's coming out.
And the specs and all that.
They blow the doors off, like
Avengers
we
may see it at E3 this year, too.
Yeah, so. You may see. Well, I mean, that once again, E3 would, using the analogy, E3 would be Thor. Yeah. And in Thor, we saw, you know, Agent Coulson and all that stuff. And more, we met Loki, who was the villain. So more winks and nods towards the Avengers movie is coming.
Yeah.
So E3 2013 might be the PS4 is coming.
Yeah.
Then we get Gamescom, where it's like, Captain America with the first Avenger, like we're totally like hang on the line because this is the next thing is going to be freaking huge.
Yeah.
The next thing would be that Tokyo Game Show and that launch, and maybe if Sony does it right, a lot of movie franchises haven't done it right.
No, they haven't.
So Marvel did it right. You know, maybe not saying Sony will. I hope Sony does. I like Sony products, but if they follow that plan, it could happen. They could get some people back that when the PS3 launched at such an expensive price point, and a year late, they moved to the Xbox 360.
The wonky, really not that great online and whatnot.
Yeah, and now now they're tied into Xbox Live, so all their friends lists are there.
Yeah, but
you need to entice them away.
What I would like to see out of the next generation of Xbox, because the the Sony stuff is great. I hope they keep doing what they're doing and figure out new things to do. But with, like you said, you know, maybe Microsoft needs to learn a couple things from Sony. They need to offer free online.
Never going to happen.
They need to offer that.
Well, too bad.
They need to.
You're already paying for it.
Yeah,
if you're a business guy and you're already like.
They're already paying for it. Why give it to you for free next time?
Sony offered free online because they knew it wasn't Xbox Live.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as Xbox Live.
We can't charge for this. It has to be free.
Yeah.
That's one. Then they're doing this PS Plus thing because they're like, we're really losing out to this Xbox Live crowd.
Yeah.
We need to tie them in, get them to go to that store and get them to buy stuff. And then PS Plus in its original form didn't really work. Instant game collection, free games, all this bull crap.
And I saw that went, like, that just spiked their numbers.
Yeah,
Didn't they go up like 25, 30%?
Yeah, they said they've sold more. My understanding of the interview was they've sold more since they introduced that games collection.
Yeah.
They're not counting the freebie stuff. Literally, they've made more money in those 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
Than they made the year and a half before.
Yeah.
So like they're like, this is what's getting people to drive to the network. And I can tell you anecdotally, I've bought more stuff off the PlayStation Network.
Yeah, I've bought more stuff off the PSN too.
Like I'm already there downloading stuff. Like what else do I want? Oh, there's a
thing for $5. Cool.
I didn't buy Jet Set Radio HD.
No.
Because there's going to be a Vita version and it's not cross-buy, and I would
You'd rather have the Vita version.
Yeah, because I already have it on a home console.
You have it on your Dreamcast. So. But I think there's stuff that Microsoft does need to learn. I know you say, they're not going to do the free online. They're not going to do that.
You're already paying for it.
But they should offer downloadable titles for free. Like every now and then, they talk to the publishers. You know, like what Sony does.
They're just now getting to free-to-play games. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Which is somewhere that Sony has been since 2009.
Yeah. And
I mean, if you want to talk strictly free-to-play games, they have they're coming out Death 5, 4, and 4.
Yeah.
And then they already have DC Online.
And there's some RPG game coming out.
They have free Realms.
Yeah.
Even before that, there was Home with all of its litany of free-to-play games. That's almost all that thing is.
And weird stuff that's just in that.
Yeah, well.
And it's Home. But I mean,
I got to credit Home for one thing and one thing only.
They have an arcade?
No. I own the Ghostbusters Firehouse at Home, and it is a spot-on replica.
Did you pay for it?
I totally did, because I am that guy when it comes to the Ghostbusters. They said,
here's the Firehouse, $3.
They said Firehouse for $5 plus like.
You get all these skins. You
get five T-shirts, and you can ride in the Ecto one. Done.
Sold. That's the best Ghostbusters game ever.
Well, No, not actually, but
it's not the way.
so Microsoft's just now getting there because it's a thing that they make money on.
Yeah.
So there's a quality level that they want to maintain.
And then that's what I'm saying though. Like next time around, you can play online with your buddies, right, for free for just having the next system.
Hypothetical, go ahead.
Hypothetically. Then they'll be like, but if you pay, $12 or $60 a year or $70 a year, whatever it is, you also get, you'll get all these free skins every month. You'll get, cheaper DLC for games. I know. This is what they should do.
I know, but that's all stuff they can offer now and don't.
Yeah.
And they have a major competitor in the same marketplace that is offering all those things.
And they're not losing to them yet.
Yeah. It's true.
I mean, once they start losing ground, they might start picking this stuff up. If Sony keeps doing what they're doing for the next system.
I got in a discussion with a guy from high school who's an Xbox Live gamer, and he was like, Xbox. I mentioned off the cuff in a discussion that the PS3 is going to be the system out of this generation that is the best and that will continue to sell in the vintage market.
Well, and depending on what they do with the PS4, whatever, they may not have backwards compatibility for the PS1 games and whatever PS2 games you can play on it. So when the 4 comes out, maybe you keep your PS3 in your other room so that you can play, your PS1 games, all your PS3 games, and so on and so forth. Because I don't know if they're even going to offer backwards compatibility on the next set of systems.
We don't, and they don't really need to. I've said that for a long time.
Well, yeah, because you're not getting rid of your PS3 anytime soon.
So this discussion was, he took it as me saying that PS3 as it is now is the best system. And I feel it's better than most. I feel it could be better.
Yeah.
And he plays Xbox. And we got through this whole discussion, and he basically rattled off the bullet points of Xbox Live Gold. And then I rattled off the counterpoints that we've all said 100 times of you shouldn't pay for this, you shouldn't pay for this, you shouldn't pay for this. You shouldn't pay twice for Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime.
Well, and that's why I don't ever use my 360, because I just use my PS3 for Netflix.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for 3 years.
So, and then he came back and he was like, well, all my friends play on it, so why would I get a PS3? And I was like, that's the point, is that Microsoft shouldn't be charging you
to play with your friends.
$60 a year for your friend list. And they are. And the audience is letting them get away with that.
I did.
And they're going to continue letting them get away with that because the next Xbox is going to have Halo. It's going to have Madden. It's going to have Call of Duty. Even though I'm feeling Call of Duty is going to wear out its welcome. But
I never liked the Call of Duty games to begin with. So, I mean, I played World at War, and it was not that great, but it's not the greatest of all those games anyway.
So they're still going to have all of those big multiplayer. They're going to have the big titles that they've already had. So that core audience... It's going to be
more of the same that's in now.
That core audience is going to continue. Like, for instance, when I got our first when you got me my first PlayStation, you got me Metal Gear Solid. So when I, 10 years later, was picking out my HD console, it was a very easy decision. This one has Metal Gear.
Yeah, you'll go to the system that has the games that you want. And most of the systems now have a lot of the same games, but there are exclusives. There are developing houses that only work for Sony or only work for Microsoft
and there's
or
more
Nintendo.
Of the ones, and that's what I said. Sony.
The more the ones that you like work for Sony.
Microsoft was built like Sony originally. They are not built like Sony anymore.
Yeah.
Sony is doing a great thing where they were trying to buy up as many development houses as they can. They close a few. They rearrange some, just so they can have
the IPs.
The IP, like this is Wipeout, so it is ours. This is Uncharted, it is ours.
Yeah.
And the other thing is this dude, when we had this argument, goes, I don't care what, but Gears of War is way better than Uncharted. And I gotta say, I'm not making a judgment call on either of those games. One series is definitely better reviewed than the other, but that is literally like saying, dude, this Schwarzenegger movie is totally better than Indiana Jones. Like, Terminator 2 might be better than Last Crusade. Definitely better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
They're two totally different movies.
Yeah.
They both happen to be action movies.
Yeah, and one's Dude Bro, the other one is Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So
I think when this generation is over, people are going to look back on the games that the PS3 had and go, oh, that's where the games were.
Yeah. Well, and
because that's Sony's plan, is that they have those games are
well,
PlayStation.
That and they're also offering, part of the PS3's legacy is going to be, you could play all your PS1 games on it from the get-go. You could do that with the Xbox initially, but then they start shutting down the backwards compatibility stuff at some point.
There was no game on the Xbox I really feel like I needed.
No, well, I don't
there was
have any
no
of my
burning
Xbox games anymore.
Fable. Probably Fable.
The original Fable was all right.
When I go back and buy
but you can get that on the
Xbox,
you can get that on the PC, and it'll run on almost anything.
Yeah, I would say like one of the only title that was really I must buy a Xbox 360 to play this game was Mass Effect 1.
But now that's coming to the PS3.
That's coming to the PS3. I didn't play Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3 because I felt like I'm not really getting all the story. I want to play the whole thing. Give me it in one package.
So now when it comes out and whenever it comes out, because I heard they were announced, but I don't remember the date. Yeah. They're coming out hopefully before Christmas.
Well, I think the PS3 they have to wait because of the exclusivity deal. But when that comes out, I'll probably buy it and I'll probably play it.
It'll probably cost you what, $50, $60 to buy all 3 games. I might pick it up on Steam when it comes out because I'm not gonna play it on my PS3. So,
but I mean, so the titles that differentiate the Microsoft platform are few and far between. They're not the best. What Microsoft has done really well this generation is charge you for that friends list.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to do that, and I think
until people stop paying for it.
Yeah. Well, no. They're going to continue to do that until they cannot sustainably
They can't support
do
it
that
anymore.
And I think in the PlayStation 4 era, Sony needs to learn, like, we need to eat their lunch.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the Japanese RPGs came out on the Xbox 360 because Microsoft threw piles and piles of money at the Japanese development community.
But Japanese development is so much different than the way that they do it in the West, and
it ended up not working out for Microsoft.
No, well, because Microsoft, that is not what the majority of their fan base is.
But they wanted to eat the PlayStation 2's user base, and they thought the PlayStation user base was very JRPG oriented.
Yeah, it was, and there's still a ton of JRPGs coming out. So, yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying.
So we're running a little late today. We didn't talk about all the stuff we wanted to talk about.
No.
We didn't talk about our spotlighting games. We'll get to that next time. We'll see you around, of course. We do want to point out, we would like you to click on our other videos, Pixelblips Plays. This past week, Dave
played a lot of Game Boy games terribly.
Played, quotation marks,
Giant
Castlevania Legends and Super Mario Deluxe. We'll link those at the end of this video. See you later. Don't forget to spay new to your Pokemon.